In New York to their historic move west. When these two teams meet, they turn it up a notch, especially when it's late in the season and each is battling for October. The names and faces change, but the intensity is always there. Tonight, the Giants and Dodgers. It begins again. It is a night where all roads lead to AT&T Park at the corner of 3rd and King Streets in downtown San Francisco, hard on the shores of McCovey Cove. And tonight is an added element. It's the Giants and the Dodgers. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow. Welcome to San Francisco Giants baseball. The Giants have been playing very well lately, the weekend series against the Reds notwithstanding. And now they are 5.5 back of the Dodgers coming into this series. And suddenly the Giants, who are right there in the National League wildcard division, still with legitimate visions of the top spot in the National League West. But this series will go a long way toward determining whether they're a serious player or not.
Well, about a month ago, it was all about the wild card. But as the Giants have crept up on the Dodgers, it now becomes something that they believe is doable, that they can not only catch the Dodgers, they can pass up the Dodgers. If you look at the last 17 games, the Giants have gone 11-6, the Dodgers have gone 6-11, and they've opened up the door. And what this series pits tonight, the two best pitching staffs in all of baseball. The Giants lead everybody in the world in ERA with a 3.49 staff ERA. The Dodgers are right behind them at 3.65. But it's going to come down to one simple thing. Whoever catches the ball in this series is going to win this series. It's all about defense.
All right, so the Giants will turn the ball over to Jonathan Sanchez, and not so long ago you might have cringed at the thought, but Sanchez has started to pitch extremely well for the Giants.
Well, he's a guy who's a swing and miss stuff guy. He's got one of the best swing and miss fastballs for a left-hander in all of the National League. The consistency of him being able to control the strike zone is going to be huge in how he does tonight. He's got 4 pitches. He has to have command of them, and more importantly, he has to be able to command his demeanor on the mound. He has to control the rhythm. That's important.
In L.A., they refer to Dodger Stadium now as Mannywood. Such has been his impact on the state of the Dodgers. However, this year, he's missed a long stretch because of a suspension, and he's not hitting right now. Raj Mathai with more on the state of Mannywood next.
and the Giants television network, and we are expecting a big crowd tonight. They are flooding into the stadium via Caltrains. Everyone here to see the Giants and Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Raj Mathai inside the Giants dugout. John Miller and Mike Krukow upstairs in the broadcast booth. And for the first time since 2004, we have a meaningful series between the Giants and Dodgers at this point in the season. And why not? The Dodgers coming into town, first place in the National League West, where they have been all season, but the Giants think they can take a bite out of LA's lead. They trail LA by 5.5 games. The big question is, what's wrong with the Dodgers? They've lost 10 of their last 15 games, and a lot of people asking, is the Dodgers slump directly correlated to Manny Ramirez's slump? That brings us to our Honda insights of the game, and not necessarily. If you take a look at the numbers, with and without Manny Ramirez, the Dodgers, man, started off to that hot start. The best in the majors, 21-8, with Manny Ramirez hitting .348 as a batting average. Then when he left for his 50-game suspension for violating the drug policy in baseball, everyone thought the Dodgers would take a slide. They did not. Take a look at that. They were 29-21, still the best record in the National League without Manny Ramirez. When he returned July 3rd after his suspension, something strange. They were just one game above 500, and that is with Manny Ramirez in the lineup. He has been slumping, hitting .279 since that stretch since July 3rd. We should note, though, yesterday, Manny Ramirez with 3 hits in a loss against the Atlanta Braves. Tonight, it's Jonathan Sanchez's responsibility to contain Manny. Let's see how he does. When we return, one of the most inspirational stories in baseball history. We are going to catch up with Dave Dravecky, how he inspired the Giants 20 years ago and tonight. The Giants and the Dodgers, Northern California and Southern California, buzzing tonight, game 1 of this 3-game set. Well, today, baseball celebrates a very important anniversary. 20 years ago today, the comeback of Dave Dravecky. If you were in the Bay Area at that time, or maybe just around the country, surely you remember this, Dravecky's triumphant return from cancer surgery. He took the mound at Candlestick Park and electrified the fans. He looked great, beating the Cincinnati Reds. Dravecky's battle with cancer was a huge source of inspiration for that 1989 World Series team, and Dravecky continues to be a big source of inspiration for this franchise as it stands tonight. Speaking of tonight, Dave Dravecky is back in the house in front of these fans. We spoke with him just a short while ago inside the clubhouse.
I learned an awful lot 20 years ago battling cancer about who I am through the love that I received from so many people in this community. And those are the kind of things you never forget. Those are the kind of things that you take with you. And obviously it's been a tremendous encouragement to my wife and I and my entire family.
You speak with such passion and confidence now, but there had to have been some really dark times during this.
Oh, tremendously dark times. Battled with clinical depression, battled with anger issues. You know, there's only so much that a man can take in going through the process of battling something like cancer, being face to face with life and death issues. The doctor's saying outside of a miracle you'll never pitch. And then on top of that, you've got surgeries, you've got radiation therapy. I contracted a staph infection, and then the arm's gone. They amputate the arm and the shoulder, and now I've got to move on with life. And so there were some really deep, dark moments on that journey.
You inspired and changed a lot of lives, especially with your teammates here in San Francisco. You see any sort of inspiration on a totally different level for this year's teams in terms of something special happening here with the squad?
You know, I think, you know, when you look at the Giants and you look at the youth that's on this ball club, I mean, that in and of itself is inspiring. I mean, you see these young players coming up and stepping up and making a difference. It's going to be fun watching this club go down the stretch. And obviously we can't determine what that's going to look like in the end, but I've got a funny suspicion there's some young players that are going to shock the living daylights out of these guys, this league, the National League West, and this city, and what they're going to be able to do.
Still inspiring us to this day. Dave Dravecky visiting from Denver. He will be in the stadium right now in just about a minute throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. We are ready for some baseball. Giants and Dodgers first pitch and starting lineups coming up next. Stay with us.
And Dodgers are ready to play, and just a few moments ago here, an emotional moment as Dave Dravecky, the former Giant, threw out the ceremonial first pitch to another former Giant, Will Clark. Today is the 20th anniversary of Dravecky's triumphant comeback with the Giants. Dravecky had undergone surgery to remove a cancerous tumor in his pitching arm. And October the 10th, 1989, he made his miraculous return to the majors and helped pitch the Giants to a victory over the Cincinnati Reds 20 years ago today. Now the Dodgers batting order presented by Verizon Wireless, America's largest mobile-to-mobile calling family. Furcal leads off at short. Martin, the catcher. Ethier, who's the Dodgers home run and RBI leader, right field. Manny Ramirez, who has done well in this ballpark, but he's been slumping here lately. Casey Blake third base, Orlando Hudson at second, Matt Kemp in center, Mark Loretta at first, and Hiroki Kuroda the pitcher. And the first pitch of the night is a fastball just missing to Furcal from Jonathan Sanchez. 64 degrees the official game time temperature. And ball two. Now he's been away from the target, but each one of those pitches was right around the plate. So the count is 2-0. And he misses badly on that one, ball three.
Now we saw Todd Tichenor, the plate umpire, before behind the plate when the Giants played the Phillies here. Remember that game Ryan Sadowski pitched, and it was a very tight strike zone.
And a strike, and it's 3-1.
A lot of times guys will have tight strike zones, and once you prove to them that you can throw strikes, they'll stretch it out a bit. But with Tichenor, it stayed pretty tight the whole game.
And that's ball four.
Let's check out the Giants defense. It's brought to you by your California Ford dealers. It'll be Lewis, Velez, and Wynn. That's your outfield with Aaron Rowan getting a day off. Sandoval, Renteria will be on the left side of the infield. Sanchez and Ishikawa on the right side. And Benjamin Molino, he'll be down in the squat tonight doing the catching. And the gentleman he'll be putting the fingers down for, Jonathan Sanchez, making his 19th start, 5-9 on the year, 107 strikeouts, 102 and a third innings, which tells you he has great stuff. And his great stuff includes a fastball, curveball, slider, split combination. And you'll see a lot of fastballs.
Russell Martin and Furcal, who is a threat to steal, although he does not do much running any longer. He has only 6 steals this year. And he was a prolific base stealer for many years in years past. Ishikawa on the bag with him. And that is in for a called strike to Russell Martin. Now Martin, the last 3 years, averaged about 15 home runs per year with a peak of 19 homers. But this year has only 3 home runs, 33 batted in. The long ball is not part of his repertoire for the most part right now. The middle infield pulled in a bit, double play depth for the Giants. A slide step. That ball is hit into left field, but right there is Lewis. One away.
All right, let's take a look at our roundtable key ingredients. And Jonathan Sanchez, control the game, not only with your pitches, but control your temperament, control the rhythm, and everybody behind you will relax. Freddie Sanchez, first time into a rivalry game, and it's going to be important for him to plug into this rivalry. And because of the pitching that's brought in by both clubs into this series, the team that catches the ball the best is going to be the victor. And that is why you want to out-glove him, number 3 in our round table key ingredients.
Now Andre Ethier. And that's ball one. Now there's something about the presence of Manny Ramirez, and especially when Ethier hits directly in front of Manny in the lineup, that has produced magic with Ethier's batting average and his power production numbers. They went way up last year when Manny first became a Dodger, and they've gone way up again this year upon Manny's return. Oh. That was an pitch.
Well, let's take another look at it. First breaking ball, and I think for a second there, Andy Ethier thought his life was going to be over. Going right at his head, and a breaking ball finally decided to break away from him. But anytime you see a ball go up head high, it's definitely an pitch.
2-0 the count is Sanchez. A little shaky with his control early on. That's a fastball for a strike. He walked Furcal leading off the inning. He retired Martin. Now he's fallen behind Ethier.
I think I'd be taking that pitch myself.
2-1 the count to Ethier, who has a career record 23 homers, 73 runs batted in. And back to the bag at first is Furcal. Now one thing about the Dodgers, you won't find any huge league leading Albert Pujols kind of numbers anywhere in their lineup, but from the leadoff man through the number 8 hitters, they're all capable of hurting you. They have a lot of depth in this lineup. Great offensive balance up and down the lineup. And he got the low strike on that one. 2-2.
Well, now he's got an opportunity to throw a breaking ball here off the plate away. And I remember the last one he threw it, he was aiming for the outside corner, and he threw it right at the head of Ethier. So he will have to make some adjustments to that pitch to get it to the location that Molina wants. And Molina, if he calls the breaking ball, he's going to want it away.
2-2 the count. And the breaking ball, but again, he misses badly with it.
Got a little push to it. Looked like he quit throwing that last one. Kind of goosed it up there. And, you know, this is the situation you don't want to be in as a pitcher. Right now, Ethier knows he's not getting the breaking ball over. And he's going to look for one thing. And guys aren't supposed to look for pitches in 2-strike counts, but this is an opportunity for a hitter to do so.
Furcal is not running. And he struck him out on a slider in the dirt.
That's a great call by Benji Molina. And for a pitcher, a lot of times if you throw 2 breaking balls in a row, you will make the adjustment. Here, he throws it 3-2. Ethier guesses fastball and swings badly at a ball in the dirt, and that is huge.
A ball in the dirt and maybe close to a foot off the plate.
Just missed it.
And you hear the AT&T Park welcome for Manny Ramirez. Manny was suspended earlier this year for using a banned substance. Sat out 50 games, returning to the lineup on July the 3rd, a little over a month ago. Ball 1 too high. And then in the New York Times, in the last 10 days or so, it was reported that both Manny Ramirez and former Red Sox teammate David Ortiz were on the list of 104 players who tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs back in 2003. 1 ball and no strikes. Changeup. That is a strike call on the outside. That's split-fingered pitch that Sanchez uses as his changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Not many guys going to swing at that one. They're not even thinking about that pitch. With Sanchez, you're going up there thinking about 2 pitches: the fastball, slider. He's getting the curveball, changeup over. That's a great sign.
Furcal at first with 2 down. And one of the most dangerous hitters in the game. Manny Ramirez, he asks for timeout and he gets booed.
I'll tell you one thing I like, though, is the way Molina's calling all his pitches. He's making Sanchez work all of his pitches, not just counting on a fastball or a fastball slider. He's going through the gauntlet of what Sanchez can throw. You have to do that early.
And the slider, strike 2 call.
I mean, Manny Ramirez watched what Sanchez was not getting over against Ethier, and so he's going up there looking for one thing, a fastball, and he's taking 2 strikes right down the throat, a changeup and a breaking ball.
The outfield is deep and straight away from Manny Ramirez. 1-2 the count. And the slider, and he took it.
It's a perfect pitch. Ahead in the count 1-2. You do not want to come into the strike zone to a hitter like Ramirez. You want him to chase. And this is a good teaser right down there below the zone. And from Ramirez's perspective, that's a great take.
And Manny almost went with a swing there. He started and then was able to check. And there is an electricity in the crowd tonight, that's for sure. Furcal back to the bag at first.
That throw over to first was called by the bench. A lot of times you get a hitter of the reputation of Manny Ramirez in that batter's box. A guy like Jonathan Sanchez will forget that runner at first, and that's when Bruce Bochy will take over and do the thinking.
2-2 to count. 2 down. And a change up in the dirt. And it's a full count now. On deck is a dangerous hitter, Casey Blake, with power, who has hurt the Giants this year. See the Giants, how they're playing it defensively, straight up in the outfield. With the second baseman, Freddie Sanchez, pulled well over toward the middle, playing Manny Ramirez to pull the ball. And you see how they are up the middle. Ishikawa on the bag with Furcal at first. 2 down. There goes Furcal. And the slider got him looking. It started very ominously for Sanchez and ended beautifully. Plaza, the Giants batting order. Eugenio Velez, red hot center field. Freddie Sanchez hitting 301, hitting 342 lifetime against LA. Pablo Sandoval, third base. Benji Molina, the catcher, started getting the RBI bat going here during the homestand. Randy Wynn in right field batting fifth. Fred Lewis in left. Travis Ishikawa at first base as Ryan Garko gets a night off. Edgar Renteria at short. Sanchez, the pitcher, batting ninth against Kuroda.
The Dodgers defensively will have Ramirez, Kemp, and Ethier. That's your outfield for Colin Blake on the left side of the infield. Hudson, Loretta on the right side. And Russell Martin will do the catching for this gentleman, Hiroki Kurata. And Kurata is a guy who can do a lot of things with the ball. I mean, he can pitch. He has a high 80s, low 90s fastball depending on the grip. He's got two types of breaking balls. He's got a good split. And look at the strikeout walk ratio. 60 strikeouts to 16 walks tells you he has great command.
Well, here's Velez, and Kuroda misses off the outside. Again, that tight strike zone. Although I give Tetzner credit in Sanchez's inning, he gave that low strike and the high strike. 1 ball and no strikes. That is on the outside, and it is a ball and a strike. The Red Hawk Casino presents Who's Hot, and it is this man, Eugenio Velez, a 15-game hitting streak since the Giants recalled him from the minors, and he's hitting .431 in that time. That rolls just foul. Martin tried to get it before it went foul to see if he could get the out, but it was just foul. So Velez, he's so hot that ball rolled foul.
That's good. That's a good thing. Russell Martin gets out from behind the plate as good as anybody in the game. Very quick, springy legs. Good athlete. Kurata, his pitcher tonight, 34 years old, 6'1", 220-pounder. We'll just watch Martin come out. Get an idea of the quickness. Very similar build to that of Ivan Rodriguez, and moves just like him. Remarkable athletes, built to catch.
And a little tap foul on the third base side. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Velez, and this has been one of the great stories for the Giants of the season, seeing what he has been able to do, because he was always the guy who had so many talents as a ball player, so much possibility, and yet had never been able to put it all together. He golfed that one into right center, and there is Ethier. I'm not sure how he got it into the outfield. The ball looked like it was about to hit the ground. 1 away.
Can see from the side just how close to the ground this pitch was. You know, and Kuroda's a guy too that knows how to use count leverage. If he's ahead of the count 0-2, 1-2, he's going to throw balls to locations where he wants you to hit the ball, such as this one that he got Velez to swing at. And Velez, you know, he's just up there protecting. He's going to follow it. An aggressive hitter.
Now Freddie Sanchez hitting .301 for the year, and strike 1. Sanchez 2 hits in 6 career at-bats against Kuroda. And you made a good point. I think this is Freddie Sanchez. He's done a lot of things in the major leagues, won a batting title, but this is his first big rivalry game. I don't know if the Pirates even have a rival these days. It's Freddie Sanchez in a Giants uniform facing the Dodgers for the first time as a Giant. 0-2.
You would think naturally it would be Philadelphia being in the same state, but when I was in Philly, it wasn't even a consideration that Pittsburgh was the rival. It was the Mets, or in that year I was there, Montreal, because they had such a good team. And Sanchez talked about it. He says, we didn't have a rival. So we always wanted to be in a rivalry game. Well, here he is tonight.
Hudson out, Ethier in. It is Ethier. Hudson was looking for help immediately as he started to break out. So 2 down. And each of the first 2 Giants hitters end up lunging at pitches that I think Kuroda was happy to see him swing at. And here is Pablo Sandoval. And look at the last 6 games for Pablo. Hitting .458 in those 6 games. That included a hitless game yesterday.
Yeah, very frustrating day for the Panda. He did do a couple of double plays that really killed rallies, and he was pretty downtrodden after the game last night. Or yesterday, rather, in the evening.
Ball 1. Molina out on deck. Sandoval, 17 homers, 68 batted in. Even with the hitless game here yesterday, Pablo is second in the National League in batting average, and he's got the second most doubles in the National League. And ball 2. So being also careful with Pablo Sandoval. Pablo's got the 6th highest number of hits in the National League. He's been a hit machine. And he chased one there on a 2-0 count. 2-1.
Our two-seam fastballs to the left-handed hitters from Kuroda. The movement has a nice run that runs away from the lefty.
No score in the game here in the first. 2 down, bases empty. And there's another one off the outside. It's 3-1.
They're just pounding that outside corner. Pitch him away, play him away.
Benji Molina would be next. 3-1. And that is in there for a strike. Now it's a full count. Game 2 tomorrow night, 7:15. Joe Martinez against Randy Wolf. Wednesday afternoon, Tim Lincecum and Chad Billingsley. Base hit to right center. Ethier was already over playing in the gap to begin with. That's likely a double at Dodger Stadium or just about any other ballpark.
Now all the Panda lovers happy that their hero gets right back on track after an 0 for yesterday. The thing about Sandoval as you watch him swing the bat is just how strong his hands are. When he takes batting practice, the sound is just loud. Just about like the way it used to sound coming off the bat of Bonds. Although nobody quite had that sound, but he's close.
Benji Molina. And ball 1. Benji had multiple RBIs in 3 consecutive games for the Giants. That stretch ended yesterday. Benji now with 13 homers and 60 batted in. He'd had a month or so where the RBIs just disappeared. So see his numbers in the last 4 games. 7 runs batted in. Slider, base hit, past the dive of Blake. And he hung that slider, and Molina hit it sharply. Sandoval stopping at second.
Got like a little cutter that just sort of lingered right out there at the belt. And for a hot hitter, you cannot make those type of location mistakes. I think if you're Kuroda, you have to think that it's a good break. That ball you can knock down the yard.
By the way, we were mentioning the expected pitching matchups for the series. However, the word coming out of the Dodgers clubhouse before the game is that Billingsley, who's got a strained hamstring that caused him to be taken out of his last start, will miss his start on Wednesday because of that. 2 men on, 2 men out. Randy Winn. And he backdoored him with a breaking ball, strike 1.
Randy Winn starting to really swing the bat better left-handed. He had an incredible at bat in the 9th inning yesterday against the Reds closer. And Carney Lansford today talking about an extra batting session they had before today's game that he was fantastic. So Lansford excited about Winn's swing. See if he can take it into the game tonight.
And down and in, a check swing by Randy Winn. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Randy Winn has a lot of moving parts in his swing. There's a lot of little different timing mechanisms that have to be right. That's why he's always been a streaky hitter.
When he gets in that hot streak, though, it tends to last for a while. A ball and a strike to count. 2 on, 2 out. And there's that 2-seamer that runs off the outside. And Martin didn't think so. He held it there for an extra couple of seconds, as if trying to convince Titchener that it was there.
Well, it's been kind of a coin toss location. I mean, in this same inning, we've seen that same pitch called a strike. We've seen it called a ball. So I don't think anybody really knows what it is. Flip a coin.
2 balls and a strike. Win ahead on the count. Sandoval at second, Molina at first. Ooh, that one was way off the inside, and Randy ended up hitting the ball down as he broke his bat and hitting the ball off his leg.
Poor bat never had a chance. The cut fastball goes right up the bat.
Look at all the armor he's wearing, both outside the pant leg and even underneath the pant leg.
Hey, if he could trade gear with Russell Martin, he would. With all the beating that his legs have taken, you can see pads all the way up to the knee. Almost as high as Russell Martin's shin guards.
Two and two the count to Randy Wynn. And he chased that one that was down below the knees, and the inning is over. And Randy ended up going out of the strike zone on a couple of pitches there. Second inning, no score.
Supposed to be Jason Schmid, the former Giants All-Star, but in the last 3 years it has been an absolute nightmare for the Dodgers and Schmid. Schmid placed on the disabled list again a few days ago. He was supposed to start tonight. In his 3 years with the Dodgers, a $47 million contract, Schmid has made just 10 starts. And gentlemen, you'll remember his days here. He was so much fun to watch when he was healthy with his power and his precision. Back up to you.
He was the ace for the Giants, and he was one of the very top pitchers in the National League for most of his time in San Francisco. And it had not been that way until he got here, he metamorphosed into a great pitcher almost immediately. And probably that changeup, Dave Righetti convinced him he had one, he needed to use it more. And his first start for the Giants was against his old team, Pittsburgh. And he not only shut down the Pirates, but his old catcher, Jason Kendall, said he threw more changeups tonight than he ever threw the whole time that I caught him.
He was a great Giant. And we coined the phrase power changeup watching the changeup that he had. Very much like the one that Tim Lincecum has.
Strike three called to Casey Blake, and there is one away.
3 strikeouts in a row now for Sanchez. A reminder, Saturday, August 29th is the Coca-Cola Ronald McDonald House Giants Gym Bag Day. The first 20,000 fans are going to get it. For tickets, you go to sfgiants.com or call 1-877-4SFG tickets. And it benefits the Ronald McDonald House.
And the panoramic look at the field here at AT&T Park. Beautiful night at the Yard. The Giants and the Dodgers. No score, second inning, and Orlando Hudson takes the ball outside. Hudson sort of made his spot in LA secure for this season as a newcomer in his very first game at Dodger Stadium, which was also his very first Giants-Dodgers game, when he hit for the cycle against the Giants. Dodgers won that game in a rout. You remember The Giants went to L.A. on the Southern California road trip that they'd like to forget. They lost every game of that road trip, as that splitter is in there for a strike. And it's 2-1. They lost 3 in a row at San Diego, and then went to L.A. and lost 3 in a row there, including that opener 11-1. And Orlando Hudson just introduced to his new fans that day, and so it was an immediate affection that the Dodger fans had for Orlando Hudson. And he has been a great addition to their ball club.
He really has. A lot of energy from this guy. Good in the clubhouse, good in the field.
3-1 the count. And that's the low strike at the knees. 3-2.
Well, you ask pitchers, and they'll tell you they'd rather have that one there than the belt high strike. That knee high strike, if it gets hit, it gets hit on the ground. That belt high strike, that's the one that gets hit out of the ballpark.
Full count. Change-up struck him out.
Wow. He's got them all working right now. The slider, the curveball, and check out the changeup. Throws it with a split finger grip, very much like that of Tim Lincecum. And boy, a guy like Hudson, who makes good 2-strike adjustments, really swings well over the top of that pitch. And that's 4 strikeouts in a row.
Now Matt Kemp, one of the Dodgers' young emerging talents. They've got a lot of them. And the slider for a called strike. Kemp hitting .315, 15 homers, 69 runs batted in. He's got power, he's got speed. He hits for average, and the strikeouts are still very much evident, but he has improved in that aspect of the game as well, striking out less often.
Well, it's all about making adjustments up here according to your competition. The level of competition will make you make adjustments if you want to exist here and excel here.
2 down, nobody on. 2 strikes to count to Kemp. The fastball, the first one he saw in that sequence, and he stays alive.
You can see that how defined Jonathan Sanchez is when he lifts his leg up. He really gets his hip cocked and almost points his knee back towards Eugenio Velez out in center field. And he really points his back pocket towards the hitter, and that allows him time to get his arm up in proper position.
And it just got a piece of that one as well.
And for a lot of this year early, when you would watch Sanchez throw a slider and a curveball, you couldn't tell the difference. Watch how that pocket really points towards home plate. And when that front foot goes down, that hand is up in a high position. Watch the front foot plant and watch who the left arm is. It's up. And that allows him to command all of his pitches.
And the slider pounded off the foot by Kemp. And that hurts.
Yeah, guys with speed, man, they don't like that. I mean, I don't know anybody that likes it, but guys that can run, they especially hate this. Look like a shin burger.
He is hobbling around out there trying to shake off the pain.
It's a great time to go back right down there at his back foot, throw another slider in the dirt.
Kemp has fought 3 difficult pitches in a row off to stay alive. Just making contact with all 3 of them to foul him off. Still 0-2. 2 down, nobody on. And he goes back there again. Sanchez. And the inning is over. Throws a little bit high, but he has a tall target over there in Ishikawa. Very strong inning. Brett Lewis coming up. gasoline again.
That's right. And go right away and buy yourself a motorhome. Not a problem.
So let's say you had 3 cars in your family.
Yeah.
Could you bring the whole family down for a fill-up?
I don't know. They got to have some way to regulate it.
Or is it just the one car that you're in? Or could you fill up your car and then drive home and get the other car and drive back? There's ball 1 to Fred Lewis from Hiroki Kuroda. No score in the game. Last of the second. Lewis hitting .265. He had not been playing much, but his average has been steadily climbing upward. He has had much improved at bats and the chances he's had. Base hit.
All right, time now for our Fry's scenic shot of the game.
Ooh.
Pan on the city of San Francisco.
That was a good idea.
On a beautiful night, you see the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's from over in Fort Cronkite.
Fort Cronkite. City by the Bay. And that is our Fry's scenic shot of the game.
I remember when I was dating my wife-to-be, and we sat in a spot very much like that, looking at the view. Of course, I was living in Baltimore at the time. I told her, you know, this view, we have stuff like this in Baltimore. I think she...
Was she buying it?
She'd been to Baltimore.
Yeah.
She wasn't really buying it. Here is Travis Ishikawa. So I took her down to Baltimore's Inner Harbor, took her up on Federal Hill, which is a hill maybe a good 40, 50 feet above sea level. I said, here it is. Remember I told you?
You must have been salesman of the year. That's all I can tell you.
Ishikawa and the slider in there for a strike from Kuroda. Ishikawa, who is Japanese ancestry, but born and raised here in the U.S., facing a former Japanese big leaguer, Hiroki Kuroda. Dodgers very active, bringing players over from the Far East. And they were a pioneer in that regard with Hideo Nomo as one of the earliest. Of course, the Giants were the first team that ever brought over a Japanese professional pitcher. That was back in the 60s. Masanori Murakami, first player for the Japanese leagues to play in the U.S. and the major leagues. 1 strike to count. In the dirt, blocked by Martin, and Lewis will have to hold it first.
The one thing I'm so impressed with when you see Asian players come over as to how fundamentally sound they are. You can talk about Kuroda, about the things that he does on the mound to help himself out, and I'll give you an example as to how quick he unloads out of the stretch position. He's one of the fastest guys we've seen all year long. He's as quick as Kirk Reeder used to be. He's right around a second, maybe even under a second.
So it'd be very difficult for Fred Lewis to get a jump to steal a bag against him.
Steal a bag off Kuroda, you got to earn it.
Just off the outside. Pretty good eye there by Ishikawa. 2 balls and a strike.
And the other thing, too, is you watch Kuroda, once he throws the ball, as to how good of a fielding position he's in. After you throw the ball, you become an infielder. And if you have both feet squared to home plate, you're in good position to field your position.
Ishikawa's had a look at Tim Flannery, who flashed some signs and see if something's up here. 2-1 the count. Lewis not running. And did he swing? An appeal, yes. Third base umpire Gary Darling said that was a swing. 2-2.
Boy, a lot of difference between a 2-2 count and a 3-1 count. It's a big call.
And I thought that he would call it a swing. I thought it was a swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But the Giants, part of having success against Kuroda is having the patience to lay off those pitches that he wants them to swing at. That one was left up, but fouled. A pop-up out of play off to the left. Still 2-2 to Ishikawa.
But that pitch is left up by design. That's a little cutter that's got flat break. And if you put that right at the belt of a left-handed hitter, it's very difficult for a guy, especially a tall hitter. You look at Ishikawa, he's got a little loop in his swing. If you could run that ball flat at his belt, he can't get the barrel head in. Look at the elbows collapse. If you can do that to a pitch or to a hitter, you've made a good pitch.
2-2 the count to Ishikawa. And Lewis dives back to first. Quick move there by Kuroda.
You think back to the way Greg Maddux used to use that cut fastball and how consistently he could plant it at the belt of a left-handed hitter, especially guys with power, especially low ball hitters from the left side. If you're a young pitcher, I mean, you have to think about learning that type of movement on that ball to try and beat those type of swings.
There goes Lewis. Martin recovers and got him. Great recovery, great throw by Martin.
I like everything about the play. And we're going to make it the Dr. Beers Sharp Eye play of the game. Everybody involved had good reaction. A nice secondary lead from Lewis, had no hesitation in anticipating the advance of second, and just an exceptional play from Martin to be able to jump on it with quick legs and rifle a strike right to Furcal to get the out. This is the big leagues. Look at that jump off the secondary lead. I mean, that's no hesitation there at all from Lewis. To sharpen your vision, check out Dr. Beers at LASIK2020.com.
Well, you don't have much time to decide on a play like that. The ball gets away. As you laid it out there, Mike, he had the secondary lead. He said, okay, I'm going for it.
Well, that's what you do. I mean, you anticipate a ball in the dirt. Everything about his instincts were perfect. Good base running.
But also well handled by Martin as that ball is hit deep into right field. Ethier looks up and gone, a home run. Travis Ishikawa onto the arcade over the Willie Mays wall, and the Giants lead the Dodgers 1-0.
Like a changeup, he leaves up at a 2-strike count right there at the belt. And Ishikawa in a protective mode, defending the plate in the strike zone with 2 strikes. Nice quick swing. See you later. Giants draw first blood.
Renteria, and it's 0-1.
A look from our splash cam. The only look in Major Leagues that gives you that perspective.
And it's 0-2 to Renteria, who is hitting .249. So Ishikawa has not played much. Continue to work hard with Carney Lansford, and he hits a home run that I think when this ballpark opened, we thought we'd see a lot of those kind of home runs here. Just a high fly ball over the short porch in right field as Renteria had an at-bat that he'd like to forget. Out number 2. And he just kind of lobbed that one, just a high soaring fly ball. It's only 309 feet to that foul pole in right field, and he went right over the Mays wall for a home run. But we don't see that kind of a home run that often.
No, we don't. The high fly ball like that usually gets beat up by the wind. It doesn't make it out.
Sanchez, strike 1. Jonathan got a base hit in his last start in Houston. Notable because it's the only hit that he has had this year. A mighty cut and a foul.
If you watch Sanchez in batting practice, he's got good BP. Surprising he doesn't have more hits than he has.
And the splitter is too low for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, maybe that's going to be another aspect of his game that starts coming on now.
Hey, everything sort of falls into place when you start to do well at this level.
Well, he's certainly not cheating himself out of a good cut.
It's not your basic 2-strike swing.
Well, I like that. You've often mentioned the idea of, hey, swing as hard as you can in case you make contact, you might hit one.
Go for it.
That is to Loretta. The first baseman handles it. The inning is over, but the Giants have gone ahead. Travis Ishikawa with a soaring home run. 1-0 Giants.
Rowan tweaked his hamstring. He is not in the starting lineup tonight, but Bruce Bochy saying he is healthy enough to go. Instead, he just elected to give Rowan a night off. Gentlemen, back up to you.
All right, Raj, thanks. There's Aaron Rowan. The walking wounded for the Giants. Uribe, another who's still not at 100% with the little hamstring problem. Mark Loretta hitting 8th in the order for the Dodgers will lead off. Then Kuroda and Furcal to follow against Sanchez. Ball 1-0. The Giants are leading. The Giants 5.5 back of LA in the National League West, tied with Colorado for second place, and also tied with Colorado for the lead in the wild card division. And too low. Now the Rockies are hosting the Cubs, and they're leading big time, as you see it posted on the hand-operated out-of-town scoreboard here. Within the Willie Mays wall in right field, the Diamondbacks leading the Mets as well in Arizona. That's a strike. Barmes and Tulowitzki have homered for Colorado. They lead the Cubs 9-1. That series is a continuation of the weekend series, and it's not been a good weekend for the Cubs, who've been playing pretty well lately.
These games haven't even been close.
Up the middle, base hit. First hit for the Dodgers.
Well, Comcast Sportsnet has complete Giants coverage on Sportsnet Central. You can see it every night at 10:30 p.m. and you can see it only on Comcast Sportsnet, authentic Bay Area sports.
And with Mike Krukow, this is John Miller bringing you Giants baseball from downtown San Francisco. 1-0 the Giants lead, and here's Dodger pitcher Kuroda. 2 hits, 16 at bats, showing bunt. And he gets it down. Ishikawa looks at second, but he'll go to first with Sanchez covering. And Kuroda promptly succeeds in getting that runner open.
Just another example of good fundamentals. And we've talked about it over the years. It doesn't seem like a big thing, but when you get a rally going and the pitcher gets up and he gets a bunt sign, you get that thing down on the first pitch, it adds to the momentum of the inning.
It is very common in the Japanese leagues, Japanese Central League, the Japanese Pacific League. Those are the two major leagues over in Japan. If a player fails at a fundamental aspect of the game on the field, when the inning is over, he goes into the dugout and immediately apologizes to the manager and to his teammates for his failure to get it right.
See, that's a great tradition. Puts a little extra pressure on your AB. Get it done right.
One ball and no strikes to Rafael Furcal, who walked his first time. Runner at second. Dodgers trying to tie this game. Loretta with a long lead, and the changeup just off the outside. 2-0. He's having a hard time throwing a strike to Furcal. Furcal, although he's not a big guy, as you see Martin on deck, and is a leadoff man most of his career, a guy who needs to get on base as often as possible. He's never been a guy who walks a whole lot. And another off-speed pitch, bounce foul. 2-1, so he really seemed to have a feel for his off-speed stuff tonight.
That split's been a good pitch for him. That's a confidence pitch too. I mean, for the most part in his young career, Sanchez, I think, has felt more comfortable throwing those specialty pitches when he's been ahead of the count. But they're not really going to help you that much then. They're more effective when you're behind in the count.
And the breaking ball. Sandoval throws him out, and pretty good base running there by Loretta. And Sandoval zoned in on throwing out Furcal at first. Loretta took third.
Well, really, you had a couple options here if you're Sandoval. I mean, he could have turned around and flipped the ball to Edgar Renteria. They probably would have been able to get Loretta out, but it would have been a play of gamble. And with one out, you have a chance to get a second out, get the easy one at first.
Now, would he know without question that Renteria would have been there?
No, there was some risk involved. He had time to look.
And that is a slider for a call strike. Some excellent base running by Loretta that a lot of guys would not have even attempted, because he was kind of exposed there at the beginning. But then when Sandoval moved forward out of the baseline, coming in after the ground ball, then he just took off for third. Randy Wynn on the move. And right there in fair ground. Loretta's stranded at third. Top of the order coming up. Velez, Sanchez, Sandoval.
Ticket for just $75, and you're going to get $25 of gas from Chevron. For details, go to sfgiants.com and click on tickets and check it out.
The staycation.
Yep, stay at home, baby. Come to the yard.
The fog rolling in through the Golden Gate and across the bay, and there you see it just outside AT&T Park over the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. And there's a called strike to Eugenio Velez, leading off here in the third for the Giants. Giants out in front 1-0. Ishikawa hit a home run to right field for that run in the second. Velez along the left field line, slicing foul, and man, that one traveled rather well. Hit the wall right next to the 339 marker.
Right down there by one of San Francisco's finest. All the way to the wall. I mean, you look at Eugenio Velez and you start thinking, he's not real strong. Check again. You watch this guy take batting practice. He hits him as far as anybody. And I mean, left field, right field, it'll make a difference.
He's hit 3 home runs in this 15-game hitting streak. High and tight. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Good sniffer up there. That pitch will definitely get a hitter's attention.
Off the hands. There is Hudson. And we got him by a step. Hudson, silky smooth over there at second base.
Tell you one thing about playing in this series. If you're a pitcher, and you're pitching for the Giants against the Dodgers, it is very easy to pitch inside. And vice versa, if you're pitching for the Dodgers against the Giants. Not a problem. If you hit them, hang with them.
That one got away from him. You see some finals. The Cardinals with a victory over the Cincinnati Reds. Kyle Loesch got the win. Florida won again. 1 ball and no strikes. Florida beat the Houston Astros. How about the Marlins going into Philadelphia? I think there were people around the country already conceding that, no question, they're hot and they've picked up Cliff Lee. The Phillies are on their way into October baseball. And then the Marlins came to town and swept the Phillies in Philly. Freddie Sanchez off the hands. Blake juggles it and got him. And Sanchez begs to differ with Bill Hahn, the first base umpire. Bruce Bochy's going to come out.
You don't see Freddie Sanchez argue unless he's got a point. He's just one of those players that usually keeps his cool. And he's got a point.
The ball has to be in the glove before Sanchez's foot hits the bag.
Safe. And Bruce Bochy going to give Bill Hahn a piece of his mind. And even if he doesn't overturn this play, which never has happened in the history of the game, he's just basically making a point. It may affect another play somewhere down the line in this series. And you can see why Freddie Sanchez was so upset. He beats it out. It was a nice recovery play from Casey Blake to even make it close. And the Dodgers catch a break there.
The thing is, really, and umpires, they're not going to get every call right. They don't get a chance to look at it in slow motion the way we do. But I think by the standards of Major League umpires, that was not a very close play. The ball's got to beat him to the bag. And quickly 0-2 the countdown to Sandoval as he fouled that changeup away. Pablo ripped a single to right center his first time. 1-0 the Giants are leading. The Giants have had some calls that have gone against them here. And there's been a lot of blown calls like that, it seems like. They seem to come in bunches. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And they got a benefit of a bad call. And I think it might have been in Houston the other night. Sandoval chasing that splitter and fighting it off. 1-2.
It's a good split. 91. I mean, we're seeing more fastball from Kuroda tonight than we saw before. He's had a good fastball that's been low to mid-90s. Now the gun in this ballpark's a little hot, but still, Kuroda's fastball tonight has been lively.
Again, Pablo fights off a tough one. Ball running away off the outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And there's a spot you can watch the game without paying for it. Coming in off the port walk, and it looks jammed out there tonight. 2-2 the count. And this was a tough ticket for this game tonight. So the fans can walk right in off the port walk in the tradition of the old knothole gangs. Catch a glimpse of the game. Well, end of the crowd. 2-2.
We live across the street of the ballpark, and you can see activity in the ticket window all day long. This started early. Yesterday, they said there was about 7,000 seats still available, and they look to me like they are just about all gone. This may be a sellout tonight.
And again, the splitter. Pablo gets it airborne into the glove of Manny Ramirez, and the Giants go down in order. Manny will be coming up after Ethier in the 4th inning.
of Dave Dravecky celebrating his 20-year anniversary when he returned from cancer surgery. And what a return it was at Candlestick Park. Dravecky goes 8 strong innings, gave up just 3 earned runs as the Giants beat the Reds. Unfortunately for Dravecky, 5 days later his career would end. And Mike, you know this so well. He is so inspiring and such a great sense of humor. I spent about 20 minutes before the game with Dravecky. He said, "Hey, give me my left arm back. I'm so excited about this current day Giants team that I want to come in and pitch." Up to you.
One of the best guys I ever played with, no question. Tremendous teammate and an incredible competitor. And what he did for that 1989 team in just 2 starts could never, ever be underestimated. It was enormous energy that he brought to our team in August, the Dog Days, and really propelled us into September, and very instrumental in getting that team to the World Series.
Andre Ethier, Ishikawa, Sanchez covering, 1 away. And keeping the bases empty in front of Manny Ramirez. Always advisable.
Manny Ramirez.
Back on July 21st, Manny got hit in the hand with a pitch and sat out the next night's game against the Reds, but then came up late in that game in a 2-2 tie and hit a pinch hit grand slam. But since then, he's had only 1 more homer and only 4 runs batted in nearly 3 weeks of games. 1 ball to no strike. Manny struck out looking his first time tonight. So now Manny has insisted, and Joe Torre as well, that his hand is fine and that's not the problem. But other than that grand slam that particular night, Manny has plunged into a slump, and he is one of the great RBI men of his or any other era. So it is always remarkable when you see a stretch where Manny with only 4 RBIs in 19 days. A ball and a strike. Change up, back out of play.
Well, the significant thing was he got hit on the hand, and you really never know as to how much that affects a hitter. And it can really play havoc with a swing because you start to hit around the pain. And you just don't get the same bat head throw that you normally do when you're swinging around pain in your hands.
Giants ahead 1-0 here in the 4th. A ball and 2 strikes to Manny. And low with a fastball. New ball put in play. That one skipped into the glove of Molina. Casey Blake on deck. The only Dodger hit so far, a single to center by Loretta, opening the 3rd inning. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts for Sanchez. We're in the 4th. 1 out. A slider. And now it's a full count.
Well, he got him on a 3-2 curveball that he looked at for strike 3, and that ended the 1st inning and Ramirez's first at bat. You know, when you get to a 2-strike hit count against great hitters, oftentimes you try to add. You try to throw a little bit harder the fastball, snap a little bit harder the curveball. At times you'll hang stuff because you overthrow it.
And a base hit.
You throw a ball way to hit, you throw it to his strength. Take a look at the sequence of pitches. Goes inside at the belly, kind of backs him off the plate. And another challenge fastball on a 1-0 count. And here 1-1, he throws an off-speed pitch, gets ahead 1-2, and then tries to get him to chase below the strike zone twice. Here he lays off a 2-2 breaking ball, and then on a 3-2 challenge with a 1-0 lead, he just says here. And that's the side of the plate that Manny's going to feast on. He's a good middle-of-the-way hitter.
Casey Blake. The slider misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Blake has been called out on strikes. 13 homers, 65 batted in. The Dodgers with a league-leading .277 team batting average, .353 team on-base percentage. And that changeup is too low. 2-0. The Dodgers, their lineup is just a meat grinder. They got hitters up and down the lineup who work the count, who will make you throw a lot of pitches, and they get a lot of walks. And no matter what part of the lineup you're in, the next guy coming up is a guy who can hurt you. 3-0.
Well, you said it. They work the count.
Orlando Hudson on deck. There's Matt Kemp in the hole. Joe Torre, second year as Dodger manager. Eases run through there for a strike. 3-1 now to Blake. Recording it for posterity. Wearing a Giants cap. And he walks him. And for the first time, the Dodgers have 2 men on base.
Well, the Giants are proud co-sponsors of the 3rd annual Plate-to-Plate Fun Run and Walk to Cross Home Plate at AT&T Park. Sunday, August 30th will be your chance to cross home plate. And if you're one of the first 3,000 people to sign up, you'll receive a free ticket to that afternoon's game versus the Colorado Rockies. All proceeds from Plate to Plate go to Project Open Hands, serving meals with love to seniors and people fighting serious illness. To register, go to platetoplate.org or call 415-447-2316.
On 1 the count to Orlando Hudson. Orlando Hudson struck out his first time. See how the Giants are playing it. Pretty well straight up in the outfield. Middle infielders pulled in a bit. Double play depth. They'd love to get the ground ball here and just end the inning right here. And that was on the ground, but off the foot of Orlando Hudson first. 0-2 the count.
Yeah, all the fast guys on the Dodgers team tonight are beating up their feet with foul balls. First it was Kemp, now it's Hudson's turn. Breaking ball. Watch the front foot. Pow! Into the toe. Oh. These dogs are barking. That is, you have no preparation for that. Usually if you drop something in the kitchen, you can at least brace yourself a little bit, but you foul a ball off your foot, that's just instant pain from nowhere, and it hurts.
2 men on, and way off the outside with that fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rockies lead the Cubs 9-1. Last of the 8th in Denver. Blowout there. Limited schedule in the majors tonight. Red Sox won back home at Fenway in the American League, and the Yankees lost to the Blue Jays. And again, out of the strike zone, 2-2.
Well, this has happened to him in 2 strike counts this inning, where he's got a 1-2 advantage or an 0-2 advantage, and he tries to add more fastball. And in doing so, when he tries to overthrow, he's losing command and he's missing upstairs.
Manny at second, Blake at first. Whoa. Again, not even close. 3-2. And there is the dangerous Kemp on deck. Sanchez got a big pitch to make right here, and he had an 0-2 count to Hudson. He's lost that advantage. Runners go, and it's a walk. The bases are loaded. Got him to 0-2 and never found the strike zone again.
Well, Dave Righetti going to come out. I think that's exactly what he's going to tell him. You have to stay within your rhythm. You cannot try and add, because it's taking your ability to command your pitches down the strike zone or to a corner away from you. Stay in that nice solid rhythm. Throw at a speed that you can control. This is an easy game to get caught up in the emotion of the game. And for pitchers, you try to add. You try to add to your fastball, and that's not what you want to do. You want to stay a nice loose rhythm that gives you command of your
location, it gives you good movement on your pitches. When you overthrow, you lose both of those elements of your pitch. And now it's a strikeout situation where the base is loaded, 1 out as he faces Kemp.
Now, Albert Pujols has been the best hitter on the planet this year with the bases loaded. He's hit 5 grand slams. Matt Kemp is number 2. He's hit 3. And he's got the bases loaded right here. Ground ball foul. Now he hit one right back to Sanchez's first time. And Sanchez did a great job of pitching to him. He jumped ahead of him and never gave in. Just threw one great pitch after another before he finally got him. The best Kemp could do in that at bat was foul some tough pitches away. Manny Ramirez at third. Casey Blake at second. Orlando Hudson at first. The infield looking for the double play ball. That is a base hit down the left field line, and it might clean off the bases. Manny has scored. Blake has scored, and here comes Hudson. The relay. And it is a 3-run double for Matt Kemp. 3-1 Dodgers.
Now, you talked about the success he had with the bases loaded in regards to the grand slam, but what that tells you is a guy who's very relaxed in a bases loaded scenario. And here he gets a pretty good pitch to hit right out there, challenge mid-thigh out over the middle of the plate, and just not an overswing at all. Let the pitcher put the power on the pitch, and that hurts.
Manny got it started with a single to center, but then consecutive walks to Blake and Hudson. The Giants are going to. It looks like they're going to walk Loretta intentionally, is what they're going to do. But
I think they're going to appeal third.
It looks like they are going to appeal at third. And no, they all touch third. Said Gary Darling.
That's usually a call. I mean, that's an assignment. If you're on the bench and you're not in the game, you have to watch the opposing runners and see if they touch a base. And if you don't think they do, you tell your manager, and then he'll make the appeal.
And they are not going to walk Loretta. But Sanchez has just lost his command entirely. And not pitching with confidence here in the 4th inning. 3-1, the Dodgers are leading. Matt Kemp with his 70th, 71st, and 72nd runs batted in. The changeup just in the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looking the runner back to second. This inning has been an inning that has played out over and over and over again for the Dodgers. A team, they don't hit a whole lot of home runs. They're not anywhere close to the leaders in the league for home run hitting. But getting men on base and cashing them in, that's another story. And that's what they're good at. And they get a lot of walks. It's not that unusual. You've got to be sharp, or you're going to end up walking a lot of them. 2-1.
That's a big point in this game now for Sanchez. I mean, you've had your balloon pop, so to speak, with the bases loaded double. But you've got to regroup and try and minimize that damage. 70 pitches now. That's a lot. 24 pitches this inning. And again, another good hitters count for a Dodger. And this is a team that punishes teams when they gain count leverage in that batter's box. You have to stay on top of these guys, and right now it is not happening for Sanchez.
So Bruce Bochy talking to Dave Righetti in the dugout. 3-1. And that's a base hit on a changeup. And another run will score. Kemp with the 4th run of the inning for the Dodgers.
give these guys a 3-1 count, a 2-0 count consistently, and they'll do just this. They're professional hitters. They lead the league in hitting. Loretta, a guy who's very disciplined, not trying to do too much in the 3-1 count, going the opposite way with the outside location. Just a good, solid at bat.
Now Kuroda, as the Giants bullpen's going to get busy. That's Justin Miller, number 45, heading down to the pen. Loretta had to scurry back as he was a little late, recognizing that Sanchez was throwing to first there. But Sanchez does not have a good move. There's the ball bunted, and it's a fair ball. Molina throws out Kuroda, and Loretta is into second base. So Kuroda's been up there twice, and each time on the first pitch got the bunt down, moved the runner over. And we go to the top of the order for Rafael Furcal. Rockies, meanwhile, have extended their lead over the Cubs. It's now 11-1 Colorado. Troy Tulowitzki is hit for the cycle at Coors Field tonight. You see it posted on the hand-operated scoreboard. Florida Marlins not only getting closer to the Phillies over the weekend now, but their win tonight, they're only 3.5 back of the Phillies in the East, but also in the wild card. Fastball in there for a strike. At the start of the night, they were just 3 games out in the wild card division. Florida with an 8-6 win over the Houston Astros. 0-1 the count to Furcal, and that's a foul ball. 0-2.
For Sanchez, he's had 8 3-ball counts tonight, and a lot of them have come when he's jumped ahead 0-2. Kind of getting that strikeout mentality, and when you try to do too much in 0-2 or 1-2 counts.
And the inning is over, but 8 men back for the Dodgers. It was a big inning, 4 runs. Molina coming up.
Snaps their 7-game win streak, and the Red Sox beat the Tigers. It snaps their 7-game losing streak. Tulowitzki today against the Cubs in Colorado. Tulowitzki goes 5 for 5 and hits for the cycle. That game's still in progress. So far, he's got 7 RBIs. You can see Sportsnet Central every night on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area.
Yeah, the game looks over, although you were correct. Technically, it is still going on. 11-1. That's at the end of 8 now. So Kuroda throws strike one to Benji Molina, now with a lead for the first time. A 4-run fourth inning for LA. The Giants need to play catch up now, and that is not something at which they've been very good this year. Last Wednesday in Houston, they came from a 3-run deficit and beat the Astros, and that's the only time this year that they've come from more than 2 runs down to win a game. Kemp goes back and has it on the warning track.
Well, this would be a good test for him. I mean, nobody said that this series is going to be easy. And if you want to put some heat on your division leaders, then you're going to have to do things like come back from a 4-run or a 3-run or a 5-run deficit. The good news is there's plenty of time to do it.
Eli Whiteside was the ultimate hero for the Giants in that come from behind win last Wednesday. He broke a 3-3 tie with a grand slam. His first major league homer. Strike one to Randy Wynn. The Dodgers come in to this series and they have struggled more than at any other time this year. They've lost 4 of their last 5. 5 of their last 7. And if you go back to July the 25th, it's a lot more wins or a lot more losses than wins. Five and 10 their last 15 games. A ball and 2 strikes to Win. He grounded out to second his first time. Dodgers, until they went to St. Louis July 27th, had not had more than a 2-game losing streak at any time this year. As Win chases up out of the zone, strike 3.
Well, Giants fans, AT&T Park is the place to be this summer. You can see for yourself, get hard to get premium tickets, and you can get them on StubHub.com, official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the San Francisco Giants. StubHub's lineup of services make it so easy to score great seats to any game. Get tickets now on StubHub.com.
Fred Lewis hit a single back in the second inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Dodgers went into St. Louis at the end of July and lost 3 in a row. In fact, lost 4 in a row. They had lost 1 to Florida before they went, and then lost the first 3 to St. Louis. And they come into play tonight with another 3-game losing streak. They had lost 3 straight to the Atlanta Braves at Dodger Stadium before coming here. And the one they won against the Braves, that was a 4-game series. They trailed by 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th, and Andre Ethier hit a 3-run homer, and they won that game. But that's the only one they've won in their last 4. A ball and 2 strikes now to Fred Lewis. Four to 1, the Dodgers lead the Giants. The Giants only run on the Ishikawa home run in the second inning. They had 4 hits in the first 2 against Kuroda, but none since. For Cal, and the inning is over, and that's 8 in a row retired by Kuroda. Martin, Ethier, and Manny coming up. Ball one to Russell Martin, who has twice flied out, once to left, once to right. After Martin, it'll be Andre Ethier and then Manny Ramirez. 4-1, LA leading. And a check swing there, or didn't even get to, just kind of check the body. And he was thinking about it, but took it out of the strike zone, and that's the Dodgers. That's their game. Very particular. They'll make you throw a strike. And that is a strike. 2-1. 2 walks in that 4-run fourth inning after the 1-out single by Ramirez got it started. But one of those walks came after he'd gotten ahead of a hitter 0-2. That hits the mound and goes past the diving Sanchez, base hit.
Well, that's the one thing you fear if you're a manager or a pitching coach. You have a pitcher go out and have a long inning, face 8 hitters, give up a 4 spot like Sanchez did in the top of the 4th. The next inning he goes out there, if he allows that leadoff hitter to get on, you kind of hold your breath. He's going to get tested right here.
These are the big hitters in the Dodgers batting order. Ethier, the home run and RBI leader. Then, of course, Manny Ramirez and then Casey Blake. The Giants bullpen will spring into action. He had a 30-pitch 4th inning. Ball one to Ethier. Ethier has struck out and grounded out to first. Justin Miller down to the pen. He had gotten up during that 4th inning. One ball, 1 strike to count.
Good pitch. In this situation, you're pitching for a ground ball. And Sanchez, I think his best ball to get a ball hit on the ground is his slider.
Fred Lewis, plenty of room. Medium deep left. And back to first will go Russell Martin. 1 away. And now Manny Ramirez to the plate.
A fan favorite here in San Francisco. They love the big fella.
And of course, there was a lot of talk about whether or not the Giants might try to sign Manny in the offseason. And there is ball one to him. Although I think that talk somehow ended up being that the Giants could have signed him. And I don't know where that came from exactly. And there's a ball down and in. Apparently there were some discussions between the Giants and Manny's agent at some level. But I don't know that the Giants were ever totally convinced that he was signable. That he wasn't merely looking for a second team to try and set a benchmark to have the Dodgers negotiate against somebody other than themselves. 2-1 the count.
Wow, you really flirt with danger. You just get behind 1-0, 2-0, 3-1 consistently with this guy. Even a 3-2 count to get an in situation to him where he knows you're going to challenge that strike zone is so difficult to get out when you come to him. But I think if he would have signed with any other team, it would have surprised baseball because of what he did last year, the 2 months he was with the Dodgers.
And slider is along the right field line, and that will reach the crowd near the visiting bullpen. 2-2. Yeah, he transformed the whole landscape of Dodger baseball in LA, and everything for this year was built around him. All of their promotions, Manny Wood. And even after he had the suspension, after he was suspended for 50 games for violating the substance abuse policy of Major League Baseball, the Dodgers turned that into a promotion, his return. They had a caravan filled with busloads of people that went down to San Diego for Manny's return. This was returning from a suspension from being punished. 2-2 the count. But he is beloved in LA, and there's no question about that, because he hits, and whatever you do, whatever you are, if you hit last year, he almost hit 400 for them the last 53 games of the year. Now this could be two. Sandoval, Sanchez, and he gets taken out, and I don't think he had time to get the double play. Manny was really hustling up the line, and Martin came in hard on Sanchez. Out number 2.
Well, Russell Martin's one of those guys that the league knows that if you're a second baseman or shortstop, and there's a medium ground ball, if you're a middle infielder, he's going to put some flame on you. He's got good speed, not afraid of contact. It's all clean.
And what's more, he just barely got Russell Martin at second base. That was an extremely close play. Casey Blake now. He got a big walk after the Ramirez single in the 4th inning that helped fuel that 4-run rally. The Dodgers lead the game 4-1 here in the 5th. Blake struck out his first time, walked and scored a run in the 4th. 2 down, Ramirez at first. And that fastball in there for a strike. It's 0-2.
It's a nice, easy delivery. He doesn't need to hump up. When he humps up, that front shoulder flies. He has a little drag. He elevates. He loses velocity. He doesn't need to do that. This is a nice, easy 95 with lots of movement, and that second stage hop in the eye of the hitter is so impressive.
Slider in the dirt, struck him out. 6 strikeouts for Sanchez. Ishikawa coming up.
And Will Clark steps up and wins the game in the bottom of the 9th with the walk-off home run against the Houston Astros and Dave Meads, part of that 1987 season. And Will Clark in the ballpark tonight. In fact, he was the catcher for Dave Dravecky throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. Guys, back up to you.
Yeah, upper tank home run at Candlestick, too. You didn't see many of those, and he did it off of Joe Sambito. He didn't give up a lot of fly balls, and when Will left the box and didn't run, which he never did, we knew it was gone.
Well, Sambito particularly didn't give up much of anything to left-handed hitters. That's Ishikawa taking ball 1 against Kuroda as we start the last of the 5th.
That may have been Dave Meads. the pitcher, I think.
Oh, that's a whole different story.
Sorry. Yeah, it wouldn't have been Zambito give up that home run.
I'm surprised Will didn't hit that ball better than he did.
My bad.
Nothing against Dave Meads. I think it's maybe the first time I've ever heard the name. Ishikawa hit a home run his first time as he takes a strike. Who was the starting pitcher that night, 1987?
Dave Dravecki.
Two and one the count, and a foul out of play. 2-2. Cubs are rallying in the ninth inning at Coors Field, although they need to do a lot more rallying. It's now 11-5. And it's a full count here to Ishikawa. It was 11-1 going to the ninth inning. And Dexter Fowler got injured going after a deep fly ball, colliding with the wall. He had to be taken out of the game. The young center fielder, Brad Hawk, dropped the fly ball. And that's a walk for Ishikawa.
That's a great at-bat. And I'll tell you, the best thing about this at-bat is that Ishikawa hasn't been getting a lot of at-bats lately. And the first thing that happens when you start going on the bench and you don't get regular playing time is you have a tendency to lose that strike zone. And he had two pretty good takes there in the 2-2 and the 3-2 counts. He's had two good at-bats. Giants need base runners and leadoff walk. That's key.
Edgar Renteria needs some base hits. Edgar has had only one hit in 12 at-bats on this homestand so far, and it wasn't as though he were hitting that well before that either. At the knees for a strike. Renteria struck out swinging his first time tonight. Edgar in his last, really over a month's time, is hitting 180. Going back to early July. This is the part of the year where he usually gets it going. The Giants need him. In the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you can tune in to Bay Area's #1 rated 11 p.m. newscast right here on NBC Bay Area tonight at 11 o'clock. You wake up with traffic and weather on NBC Bay Area weekday morning starting at 4:30 a.m.
I'll call you.
Okay, I'll be there.
I know sometimes you have a hard time getting up that time.
Oh, no.
But I know you hate to miss it.
Got to see that opening 5 minutes. That's a good part of the show.
Hello? 4:30 crew, get up, come on. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you calling me.
That would be bad.
1-2 now to Renteria. Renteria has come out on deck for the Giants with Justin Miller continuing to heat up in the bullpen. We're in the 5th. The Giants are trailing 4-1. Jonathan Sanchez still has his helmet on and a bat in hand. Nobody out of the inning. Chasing that high fastball, fouling it back. That was a similar pitch to the one against which he struck out back in the 2nd inning. And the Giants have a very aggressive group of hitters. There's just no question about it. Quite a contrast when you see the Dodgers with a lineup full of very patient and discriminating hitters who work the count, will coax walks. The walk here to Ishikawa, the first of the night, drawn by the Giants. And this could be 2. There's 1, and Hudson back to first, not in time. Not hit that hard for a sure thing double play. So Renteria, but still not hitting. 1 away. And Renteria will be officially entered in now as a pinch hitter for that man, Jonathan Sanchez. His night is over. Aurelia hitting .224 overall, just a few days ago back from the disabled list. One out. Renteria, the runner at first down. Ishikawa erased on that force out at second. And that fastball, wow, that was close. Ball one. One thing about the Dodgers now, they did not get a starter. There was a lot of talk about the Dodgers at the trading deadline in search of a proven starting pitcher. And apparently they made inquiries on both Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee, but did not get either one, obviously. Really, and this should be two, and is. No! Well, he said he came back up with it, but it looked like he was off the bag when he did.
That's a horrible call.
Bochy out again. Second time tonight that Bochy went out and had a problem with Hahn. Hahn blew the call the first time, and did he blow it this time?
He did. He reaches down and he pulls his foot from the bag, and Hahn, for the second time tonight, has blown a call, and it has favored the Dodgers.
I don't see how Hahn could even see if he had the foot in the bag or not from where he was standing. From that angle, I'm sure it appeared to Hahn that he still had the foot in the bag when he picked that ball back up.
No, I agree. From that angle, I think he's seeing the foot extend towards him. He's thinking the toe is still in contact with the bag, but it's 0 for 2, Mr. Hahn.
And I'm just seeing that picture of Bochy and Hahn arguing. I'm flashing back to not so long ago. It seemed like the Giants have had other times they've been at odds with Bill Hahn on calls at first base. Orlando Hudson facing Justin Miller, who has come in from the Giants bullpen. Miller with a 2.02 earned run average, 49 innings, 37 hits allowed.
Just 58 or 54 base runners rather than 49 innings, and that's a remarkable year. He's been very solid.
And that changeup, that check swing. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That is a fair ball. Randy Wynn plays the carom, but easily into second is Hudson with a double. Let's take a look at the Chevron American League out-of-town scoreboard. The Athletics clobbered Baltimore at Camden Yards. The Blue Jays ended the Yankees' 7-game winning streak. That was at Yankee Stadium. And the Red Sox snapped out of a 6-game losing streak back home at friendly Fenway Park. The Rays and Angels tied last of the 5th in Anaheim, and the White Sox ahead of the Mariners up the coast in Seattle. Last of the 6th inning there. Abbreviated schedule in both leagues. On this Monday night, now here is Matt Kemp, who hit a 3-run double his last time. He's got another man in scoring position right here, and he drops a bunt down that goes foul at 70 feet or so from home plate.
Well, this was the big swing of the bat with the bases loaded in the 4th inning off of Jonathan Sanchez. A pretty good pitch to hit. And Kemp rakes it down the left field line with the speed the Dodgers had on the bags. They cleared the bags. You saw it. Orlando Hudson, the runner at first base, going all the way from first. 4 times tonight in 6 innings, the Dodgers have been able to get that leadoff hitter on base. And it just seems like the Giants have been in the stretch all night long against the Dodgers.
Hudson at second. Kemp already with 3 RBIs in this game. Spins the slider for strike 2 swinging.
It is a strikeout situation. Runner at second base, nobody out. That's exactly what Miller's pitching for.
On to the count. Loretta on deck. Another one. Puts him away.
That's a nice job of pitching right there. That's exactly what he had in mind when he started the at-bat against Kemp. Payoff pitch down below the zone. And of all the Dodgers, probably the most aggressive out of the strike zone is Matt Kemp. He will chase, especially down below the zone. And that pitch right there, right to the scouting report, and a big strikeout.
Loretta has hit 2 singles and has knocked in a run. He knocked in the 4th run in that big 4th inning rally. Fastball to strike. Loretta is 2 for 2 in this game. Colorado has won its game over the Cubs 11-5. That's now a final from Denver. Jorge De La Rosa got his 10th win of the year. Gorzolani took the loss. Giants and Rockies tied for second in the division and tied for the lead in the wild card division in the National League when the evening began. The shortstop, that'll keep Hudson at second base as Renteria throws out Loretta.
Well, for comprehensive coverage of everything orange and black, check out pregame live and postgame live before and after every Giants telecast on Comcast Sportsnet, Authentic Bay Area Sports.
Dodger pitcher Kuroda at the plate now. He has had 2 sacrifice bunts, and he flails at that slider, and it's 0-1. Kuroda, 2 hits in 16 at bats. He hasn't had quite the success when he's not been bunting for a sacrifice.
And they're playing Pablo Sandoval back at third base, and there's an opportunity to bunt here.
A bloop. Out goes Sanchez. Nice play by Sanchez. That one started to slice a little bit. Top of the order, Velez, Sanchez, and Pablo coming up. Astros 8-6 in Miami. The Cardinals over the Reds. The Cardinals now with a 3-game lead in the Central Division over the Cubs, who lost at Denver 11-5 to the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks with a 7-2 edge on the Mets in the 9th inning in the Sonoran Desert. If the Mets lose that game, they'll be 8 games under 500. Now the Giants, last of the 6th inning, down by 3, and the top of the order coming up here, and Velez, who has been in the middle of just about, it probably is not literally true, but it seems true. It seems like he's been in the middle of just about every rally for the Giants since he's been called back from the minor league.
He's been the igniter, no question about it. And they need him to ignite right now. They need something going. This is a critical time through the lineup against Kuroda.
He is flied out to right center, grounded out to second. And a foul right past Roberto Kelly. Handled by the ball dude flawlessly.
Ricky Clay, our first base ball dude tonight. Making a play, making a friend. Not bad.
You smell that? I smell garlic fries.
Smells pretty good, doesn't it?
I'm drawn to it. Knocked down, and that will be enough for Velez to beat it out. That was hit hard. It took a wicked hop on Loretta, who did well just to get a glove on it.
Loretta's got some really good hands, and a guy who's made his living in the infield his whole career, mostly at second base, kind of gets handcuffed as this thing comes up. This is kind of a hop that you don't forget as an infielder when you get one that comes up head high. And it's going to be a hit. That extends the hit for Velez. 16-game hitting streak, 29 for 68 with 3 big flies and 11 RBIs. And the igniter has come through again.
Freddie Sanchez is flied out to shallow right center and grounded out to third. And that was an argument from Sanchez and Bruce Bochy. He ended up being called out at first base, and television replays showed that that's not the way it should have been called. Ron Wotus is the acting manager for the Giants after Bruce Bochy's ejection in the 5th inning. This is the play with Sanchez back in the 3rd inning.
Clearly safe when you watch it from the replay. This was the first play that the skipper went out and argued. Bill Hahn, the first base umpire, 0 for 2. And both of those calls went to the Dodgers.
Hudson 1, and Furcal doubles him up. And that they have turned into an outstanding double play combination. Orlando Hudson and Rafael Furcal. The Dodgers defense in general much better this year.
Well, if you get the ball in the hands of Furcal, he's got one of the most lethal arms in all of baseball. And it was an easy exchange, but what set it up was a perfect chest-high pass from Orlando Hudson, the Gold Glover at second. And the double play the last 2 days have really punched the Giants offense in the stomach. It happened yesterday in the 6th, the 8th, and then the 9th innings, denying them rallies. And here with a leadoff single, boom, very quickly shot down by a deuce, and that hurts.
Sandoval the hitter, 1 ball and no strikes. Pablo single to right center in the 1st inning, flied out to left. In the 3rd, he's 1 for 2, hitting .333 for the year. 4-1, the Dodgers lead the Giants. Down the left field line, foul into the crowd. Big crowd and a vocal crowd. But the Dodgers with a 4-run 4th inning, and they are in control at the moment. The Giants have grounded into double plays each of the last 2 times they've had a man on base. And they've only had 2 men on base since the 2nd inning. That's out of play, 1-2. They also had a runner wiped out on the base paths, Fred Lewis, and you couldn't really fault Fred. He tried to take second base. The table was set very nicely for him to do so as the ball got away at the plate from Russell Martin. But Martin recovered beautifully and was able to get him just barely at second base with a throw. And here is Hudson. Nice easy hop. And that's all for the Giants here in the 6th. On to the 7th, top of the order for Carl Martin and Ethier coming up. $6 burger with grilled pineapple back at Carl's Jr. 4 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 5 hits for the Giants. Kuroda, 6 strong innings. And Matt Kemp, the big hit of the night, a 3-run double in that 4-run 4th inning rally. Sanchez went 5. He started off beautifully the first 3 innings, very strong, and then faltered in that 4th inning. Lost his sharpness, a couple of walks fueled the Dodger rally. Sanchez 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, but that big 4 spot in the 4th.
Well, I think what happened too is it's a big game, and Sanchez really opened up tonight's ball game with great stuff. He had a feel for all 4 of his pitches. I think where he ran into a bit of problem was he was trying to add when he got to 2 strike counts and put a little more fastball on the fastball, put a little more snap on the breaking ball, and that kind of took him out of his rhythm. I'll go back to his last out that he faced Casey Blake, and it was a 1-2-3 see it, just a nice easy 95 miles per hour, not an overthrow. Then he finished it up with a nice easy snapper of a curveball, explosive curveball, and that's the rhythm that he has to learn to be able to stay in. Because when you add, for the most part, you really diminish your stuff and you lose your command. And if there's anything, if he evaluates his performance tonight, he can look back and say, you know what, I can improve upon this, and that's how he can improve upon it. Jonathan Sanchez is still a young pitcher, and this is a big game situation. You have to learn how to deal with these type of games, and he will.
2-2 to Furcal. Strike 3 call with a slider.
Nice backdoor breaking ball. If you watch Justin Miller over the course of the season, what he is able to do, he and Brendan Metters both, consistently with the breaking ball, is go inside and outside. They use that breaking ball like a fastball. Great command with it. Nice pitch.
If you had never seen Miller pitch and you look at his career big league numbers and his numbers with the Giants this year, it would be easy to conclude that he's a power pitcher. Guy's throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, but he's really more of a finesser. But he's real tough to hit and gets a lot of strikeouts.
But, he doesn't often miss upstairs. A lot of breaking balls, a lot of pitches that have downward bite, and when he misses, he's below the strike zone. And I think that's been part of the success story this year.
1 ball, 1 strike to Russell Martin. Martin has flied out to left, flied out to right, and singled. Andre Ethier on deck. Manny Ramirez behind him. 4-1, LA leading here in the 7th inning. Right to Sanchez. 2 down.
Well, Sunday, August 30th, put it down on your calendar because the Giants are going to commemorate Randy Johnson's 300th victory with a bobblehead today, presented by Chevron Extra Miles Stores. The first 20,000 fans in attendance will get the Randy Johnson commemorative bobblehead. For tickets, call 1-877-4SFG-TICKS, or you can always go online to sfgiants.com. We've seen it. It is very cool.
Ball 1. Just a bit outside to Ethier.
Big unit. And they captured. That's his motion right there. These bobbleheads blow my mind. I got to be honest with you.
Now they had one for us to see in the booth earlier tonight, and it looked like you could actually swivel him. Now, is ours just broken, or is it built to do that?
It's built to go El Tiante if you swivel a little bit.
You could get Randy to turn his back on the hitter.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm thinking that they built it to do that.
Well, that's the first one ever made that one they gave us, so it may have had a couple of kinks, but by the time that the bobblehead day gets here, you'll see the finished product.
It's kind of cool the way when you can actually move it around and have him go through his whole motion. Ethier draws the walk.
Certainly not what Justin Miller had in mind to face Manny Ramirez out of the stretch, but this will be an interesting war between a guy who's got good stuff and good command of it and one of baseball's premier hitters.
Manny started that 4-run 4th inning rally with a single into center field. Manny is a student of hitting and will spend a great deal of time going over video, crafting a game plan for individual pitchers. And a slider in there for a strike, but he will gather information from one at bat to the next, and I think we saw that from his strikeout in the 1st inning against Sanchez to the at bat in the 4th inning, where he basically took away everything but Sanchez fastball from him in that 4th inning at bat. In the dirt for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
4 for 10 lifetime with 4 strikeouts. They know each other. You get 10 at bats against the guy, you're going to know your opponent pretty well, both from the pitcher's perspective and the hitter's perspective.
2 down, Ethier, the runner at first. Manny Ramirez, who've been slumping the last 18-19 days. Right center field, and that's in there. Base hit, barehanded by Velez. Ethier goes to 3rd. Manny will hold at first with a single. Velez with a nice throw back to the infield, and he got rid of it quickly.
Well, how many times have you seen Manny Ramirez do this, go inside out and take advantage of the right center field side of the field? Just really lets that ball get deep into him. Eugenio Velez made a very nice play. If he doesn't make that play, Andre Ethier probably scores. You can see the gap to right center, top of your screen. Ball slicing away from Velez. And Velez coming up with a barehander and a very good throw that freezes Ethier at 3rd base. Nice play.
Casey Blake, 65 runs batted in, and the count is 0-1. Blake was in a rather deep slump when the season began, except when he batted with runners in scoring position. Even when he was hardly getting any hits at all, he was still knocking in runs. That's when he got the hits. Chases that slider in the dirt. Strike 2.
So when you have to have confidence in your catcher, that runner at 3rd base. And for a guy like Miller who throws a lot of breaking balls down in the dirt when he's ahead in the count, he has to have trust in Benji Molina.
Sergio Romo up in the Giants bullpen, right-hander. 2-strike count to Casey Blake with 2 down and nobody on. Ethier drew the walk, and then Manny Ramirez got the base hit. Runners at first and third, 2 down. Orlando Hudson on deck would be next. Again, that slider in the dirt, and again Benji blocks it. A ball and 2 strikes. You like that? He just swung at one of those pitches, so come back, see if he'll swing at another one.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm thinking if a guy's swinging at a ball in the dirt in the first place, he's not seeing it real well. So why not back it up and throw another one down there?
Blake, 65 runs batted in so far this year. Blake backs away as Miller had stepped off the slag. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Arizona beat the Mets 6-4. All the other National League games are over with. We're in the 7th. And he does indeed chase another slider in the dirt. Strike 3. 2 men stranded. Molina coming up for the Giants.
Right here at AT&T Park. Get the best HD experience only from Comcast. Comcast gives you the best HG. Gentlemen, back up to you.
All right, thanks, Raj. That's Raj Mathai, sports director at NBC Bay Area. I'm John Miller with Mike Frucco. And with Raj Mathai, your Giants telecasters from AT&T Park. On this Monday, the 10th day of August. And the Giants are trailing the Dodgers 4-1, and the Dodgers get their bullpen busy now. That bullpen has been fortified through trade and also through recovery from injury. Molina takes a called strike, a slider from Kuroda. Dodgers acquired George Sherrill, who had been the closer for the Baltimore Orioles in the American League, and also have gotten the return of Hung-Chi Kuo, who had been on the disabled list. And Blake throws out Benji Molina. 1 away. Benji is now 1 for 3. Benji got jammed in that one. And the battle will be Randy Winn. Randy has grounded out to second and struck out in this game. Game 2 of the series tomorrow night. Joe Martinez for the Giants against the veteran left-hander Randy Wolf. And then a day game on Wednesday. Tim Lincecum and Chad Billingsley. Billingsley had been scheduled, and although he is still on the list, he has been scratched. The Dodgers announced before the game that he will not pitch Wednesday's game, but they have not yet announced who will in fact pitch against Lincecum on Wednesday. 4 runs, 7 hits for LA, 1 run, 5 hits for the Giants. We're in the 7th. Giants need base runners, and they have been in short supply. 4 of their 5 hits came in the first 2 innings. They've had only 1 hit in the last 4+ innings. Kuroda has allowed only 2 base runners since the 2nd. Probables tomorrow, Wolf and Joe Martinez. That'll be televised on Comcast Sportsnet, and then the day game on Wednesday at Lincecum for the Giants. And out of play by Randy Wynn. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Kuroda's been impressive. And what he has done so well tonight is spot the fastball with a variety of a couple of movements, the 2-seam and the 4-seam fastball. Runs a flat cut in on the hands of lefties, and his split, it's a real good strikeout pitch, and it's a good pitch to get a ground ball as well. There have not been many balls squared up against him tonight. He has managed to stay off the sweet spot.
And this time Wynn laid off that high fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers with Hong-Chi Kuo, the left-hander, and Ronald Belisario, the right-hander. Wynn's got a base hit to right.
Very compact swing. Nice 2-strike approach. See a short plant. Just good balance between the body. You see that body right between the feet. You know a guy's getting his back leg into a swing. And here comes Joe Torre. That may be it for Kuroda.
Hong-Chi Kuo will be summoned for the bullpen with a couple of lefties coming up, or at least due up. Lewis and Ishikawa. 4-1 Dodgers. Runner at first, 1 out. We'll be right back. Because of an injury. He was moved up, and he pitched beautifully. 93 pitches, leaves a runner at first base, and has a 4-1 lead that he has handed to the bullpen in the person of Hong-Chi Kuo.
Here you see his numbers: 12 strikeouts in 11 1/3, just 7 hits allowed. Got a good fastball curve combination. Not an easy guy to hit.
1 ball and no strikes. And he throws real hard. There is another left-handed hitter, Ishikawa, on deck. Giants have right-handed hitters that could go up there in place of Ishikawa, but the Dodgers have a right-hander up in their bullpen. That's a called strike. You got the outside call there from Todd Kitchener. 1 ball and 1 strike to Fred Lewis.
Hong-Chi Kuo, I mean, he is a bull. 6'1", 242. he's had some major injuries he's had to fight through. I mean, he just got off the disabled list July 27th, and he was on a 60-dayer with an elbow problem. And once they get him healed up, he always comes back in with that mid to high 90s gas. Good breaking ball to go with it. And he's definitely a guy who can strike out lefties and righties.
3-1. And Fred Lewis is one of the Giants who will work a count.
And he's a good hitter against lefties. Likes the ball middle way, and if you cut fastballs the outside corner to him from the left side, he'll go that way with you. He'll go to left field with pop.
Tonight, Fred has had a single and has also grounded out. 3-2.
Dodgers playing Fred Lewis straight up.
And he struck him out. With a hitter's count, he just blew two high fastballs right by him.
He did. He went to country hardball in there. 3-1, 3-2, same pitch. Just a fastball just right across the letters. And that is the type of at-bat that unnerves a hitter. When he swings through two fastballs, 3-1, 3-2, that gets him talking to himself, heading back to the bench.
So now, Ryan Garko has come out of the dugout. He will be entered in as a pinch hitter for Travis Ishikawa. Let's see if Joe Torre is going to counter that move. He's got the right-hander ready in the bullpen, and here comes Torre. The Dodger bullpen has done real well this year, even before they got Quo back and before they trade for George Sherrill. The problem being that bullpen had been utilized a lot. Second most innings pitched of any bullpen in baseball. Belisario coming in. Just a month coming back from the disabled list. Just this past Saturday, he had a strained right elbow, and he had been worked hard out of that Dodger bullpen. This is his second appearance since coming back. Still his 45th game of the year. Win the runner at first. Garko, the pinch hitter for Ishikawa, takes ball one.
Now, Belisario's got mid-90s sink with a hard slider changeup combination. He can not only get the ground ball, but he can get the strikeout. And that is a commodity in any bullpen.
A ball and a strike to Garko. Garko, one of the things the Giants liked about him is that he's a veteran hitter. He had some pretty good numbers. He was hitting .285 for Cleveland this year. But also was a guy who would take a walk and a decent on-base average. And his average is only .235 so far for the Giants, but a .366 on-base average for the Giants. Look at the hands there for Orlando Hudson. That was a real tough play. A wicked hop, and the ball hit very hard. And he handled it beautifully. On to the 8th inning now. Four to 1, the Dodgers lead the Giants as we go to the 8th inning. First game of a 3-game series. Tomorrow night, 7:15, Game 2. Tickets available at sfgiants.com. 12:45 on Wednesday with Lincecum on the hill, the final game of the series, as Sergio Romo throws ball 1 to Orlando Hudson. Romo, the third Giants pitcher of the game. He's in relief of Justin Miller, who pitched 2 shutout innings. Ryan Garco stays in to play first base after he pinch hit for Ishikawa. Slider is yanked right over to the Dodger dugout.
Well, time now for our Lexus Pursuing Perfection play of the game, and we think the one-hop seed that Orlando Hudson stayed with in the inning for the Giants in the 7th is worthy of this play. Why not? You want to give it a good play, give it to a Gold Glover, and that's what we're doing. Our Lexus Pursuing Perfection play of the game.
Hudson 1 for 2 with a walk, and that's a strike called from Romo. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hudson got a walk in the 4th inning that loaded the bases just ahead of Matt Kemp's 3-run double, the big hit of the night. Hudson then hit a double himself in the 6th inning, leading off the inning, but the Dodgers were never able to move him up. He was stranded at second base by Justin Miller. Hudson is hitting .295 for the year. Dodger bullpen gets busy again. Their new acquisition has started to throw. That's foul off the left field line. Dodgers big George Sherrill. Again, he was the closer for Baltimore last couple of years. Been in the All-Star game. And he is a big guy. Throws hard. He made his debut right after the trade in Atlanta. Inherited a couple of runners in the 8th inning of the game and then struck out all 3 of the hitters he faced. High and tight, he buzzed him with a fastball there.
Well, when you come over to a new team, you want to make an impression. That's a good way to do it right there.
So really, it was nice of them to leave a couple of guys on base for him. It made it all the more impressive.
Sounds to me like he appreciated it.
So he was the closer in Baltimore, but he is the setup man in front of Broxton here. Wicked slider. Did he swing? No, says third base umpire Gary Darling.
That was nasty. I think the pitch was so good it breaks Hudson down mid-swing. This thing just takes off and frisbees right into him. I think he held his swing.
Yeah, I think so. 3-2 the count. And he foul tipped it into the glove of Molina. Strike 3.
I think one of the keys for Romo the rest of the way is for him to regain the confidence in his fastball. Right now it's going to be a time for our Cache Creek hit of the game. We go back to the 4th inning, and there's a bases loaded double by Matt Kemp that sort of broke things open for the Dodgers. They would go on to score 4 in that 4th inning, and that has been the difference in this ball game as we are 4-1 here at the top of the 8th, and that's our Cache Creek hit of the game.
So Matt Kemp, this time with the bases empty, and the slider in there for a strike. Kemp had the bases loaded double, and then had another shot with a runner at second in the 6th inning, but Justin Miller struck him out in that one. On 1 the count to Kemp. And strike 2.
That is his key, to get the confidence back in that fastball. He had that little dry spell when he first came back after the break, and I think it really has affected him in the way that he feels about his fastball. He kind of nibbles with it. Earlier in the year when he just came out the disabled list, you know, he had a little attitude with his challenge on the fastball, but he's kind of lost that. He needs to get that back. Romo's one of those guys that's got excellent command over all of his breaking balls, and he can throw them on both sides of the plate with consistency. Had a great reputation for being a strike thrower coming out of the minor leagues. And he's never really had adversity here at the big league level until that little bump in the road. The bump in the road was 2 consecutive outings where he faced 6 hitters, gave up 6 hits, and they all scored. He really torched his ERA.
Nice pickup by Sandoval, and the inning is at 2 down.
Good save, partner.
It was such a good play. I want to just go ahead and say that's all they get in that inning.
Little breaking ball, 1 hop, top spin seed. Just another example of the real soft hands that Sandoval has over there at third. If you watch what he's done this year at third base, you would believe that he's never played another position in his life. Such great instinct, tremendous feet and hands, good athlete.
Loretta 2 for 3. Ooh. Now where was that pitch?
Well, I mean, Fisher's been pretty much down around the knees with the low calls all night long. He hasn't really gone and given many bell high or just a little bit above strikes. I think for the most part he's been pretty consistent.
All right, so too high.
Although by definition that's a strike.
And out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Loretta knocked in a run with a single in the 4th. He's had 2 singles and is also grounded out.
The guy we're going to see behind the plate tomorrow, Bill Hahn, he'll call those high strikes.
Two and 1. And you made a comment with about Romo that you thought a key ingredient for him is to come back and really regain full confidence in that fastball.
Well, it's in there. We've seen it. We've seen him when he first came up have confidence in all of his pitches. But as I mentioned before, I mean, he's never really had the adversity at this level. I mean, when he got here, he climbed that bullpen ladder quickly and really put himself in the favor of Bruce Bochy. And Bochy had no problems using this kid late in the ball game because of his ability to command his pitches, fearless. Then he went through that little bump in the road, and that has taken away some of his confidence in the fastball. Hasn't affected his breaking balls.
Sandoval, and the inning is over. 3 up and 3 down. Last of the 8th inning, Renteria.
Houston against the Astros, and tomorrow will be the starting pitcher here for the Giants against the Dodgers. It'll be his first start in San Francisco. And guys, I've been watching Joe Martinez throughout this game. He's been at the top rail, standing up, watching those Dodgers hitters. Mike, you got to imagine he's all fired up for tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, first home start in his young career. He's doing it against the rival Dodgers. You bet he's fired up. What we've seen from Joe Martinez, though, is that he doesn't get too amped up to where he doesn't get sink on his pitches, and that's important. Sometimes sinker ballers can throw through their sink. Hasn't happened to him.
Here's the new Dodger left-hander, George Sherrill. He's the new eighth-inning setup man in front of Jonathan Broxton. He throws ball one to Edgar Renteria. Sherrill had 31 saves for Baltimore last year, his first year as a closer. Made the All-Star team. That's a called strike on the inside.
This guy does something you don't see very often. I mean, when he starts, he's almost got his back to the hitter. He really exaggerates the way that he points his right toe, and he's closed up. There you see.
Left center field. Manny will have to chase it to the 382 side. Renteria will stop at second with a double. His first hit of the game.
Sherrill tried to backdoor a little slider in that outside corner. And Edgar Renteria just goes right down and beats a pretty good location. Finds a gap, and the Giants have some action with a leadoff double.
Aaron Rowand is going to be the pinch hitter for Sergio Romo. Juan Castro is now in at second base for the Dodgers. They made a double switch when they brought Sherrill in. Rowan hit one off the fist on the first ball and is thrown out by Rafael Furcal. One away, and now Velez will come up. Velez had a single his last time and is 1 for 3. Hitting .337 for the Giants this year, and hitting a lot higher than that since they brought him back from the minor leagues. He's hit safely in 16 consecutive games in that stretch. A switch hitter, he'll bat right-handed now. And at the knees for a strike. Sherrill had 20 saves this year for Baltimore in 23 opportunities at the time of the trade, with a 2.4 earned run average. He's had 5 scoreless innings as a Dodger. That is punched foul.
Ball dude down the first base line tonight, Ricky Clay's put on a show. And it's bumming this guy out. Our third base ball dude, Gary Gregorian, has not had the same kind of luck.
Giants trying to mount a comeback, trailing 4-1 in the 8th. And just a little out front of that slider right in on the hands. 0-2. Well, there, he looked good on that one.
Well, I'm impressed he can get up out of the chair. See, 8th inning.
Velez trying to make something happen here. The Giants need base runners. Freddie Sanchez on deck. Sandoval behind him. Furcal paying no mind to Renteria. Throws out Velez. 2 down. Sanchez is 0 for 3 in his first Giants-Dodgers game. Flight out to shallow right center, and was thrown out, although it should have been called safe. A bone of contention for the Giants back in the 3rd inning, and then hit a double play ball in the 6th. And that is a foul ball.
Good thing. I had inning ender written all over it if it stayed fair.
Now, if he get aboard, Pablo Sandoval would be the possible tying run of the game. So this is a very important at bat, as you might expect, for the Giants here in the 8th inning. They have Sandoval come up with a chance to do some serious damage versus coming up with nobody on base in the 9th. But right to the shortstop for a call. A leadoff double and then 3 ground balls to short. 9th inning now, 4-1 LA. Cast right here on NBC Bay Area tonight at 11. And wake up with traffic and weather on NBC Bay Area weekday mornings at 4:30, starting at 4:30 a.m. Marquín Valdez takes over for the Giants here in the 9th inning. And he'll face Juan Pierre, who is the pinch hitter for George Sherrill. And ball 1 inside. And Pierre, who was not a favorite of Dodger fans. In fact, he became a symbol of everything that was wrong with the Dodgers until this year when he became the left fielder when Manny Ramirez was suspended. And he did a lot of that. Base hit for Juan Pierre. But the Dodgers, who had been off to a great start, and they stayed just as hot after Manny got suspended for a good long while. And it was Pierre leading the way. Pierre was hitting around 400 for 2 or 3 weeks after the suspension of Manny Ramirez. And now Pierre is beloved in Dodger Stadium. Pierre hitting .314 coming into this game. And he is aboard with the pinch hit. Now Rafael Furcal. And Pierre, of course, is still a threat to run. He has 23 stolen bases, caught 9 times.
I mean, you get 200 hits in a season, you can hit. And he's done it 4 times. In 2007 with the Dodgers, he had 196. So, I mean, he's got credentials. He wasn't surprised by the success he had when Ramirez went on the shelf for 50 days. I mean, to him, it was just an opportunity to play every day, do what he does. Got hot. And this is what he has done against the Giants this year. He has been almost unstoppable.
And a strike. to Furcal.
Nice quick delivery from Valdez. That's something he's really improved on. His ability to unload out of the stretch position. You saw when he came set, he really held Pierre. And base runners did not like that. They do not like to get frozen over there.
One strike to count. Furcal is 0 for 3 with a walk. And Pierre back to the bag at first. The Rockies won their game 11-5 over the Cubs. Troy Tulowitzki, Bay Area native, hit for the cycle in that game. And now down the coast in Anaheim, Tampa Bay and the Angels are playing. They're in the 8th inning in that game. That's a broken bat bloop into center field, base hit. Pierre stops at second. First hit of the night for Cal. And they are set up nicely now. 2 men on, nobody out. Russell Martin coming up, and then the power will follow him. Ethier, Ramirez, Blake, and Martin's going to go over and chat directly with Larry Bowa, the third base coach.
Cover up your mouth. Don't let your opponent see your lips. There are good lip readers in those dugouts.
Will Clark was a pretty good lip reader.
Yes, he was. And they got him a pretty good pitch to hit in the 1989 playoffs with the Cubs. Hit a grand slam off of Greg Maddux, just reading lips.
Jason Bartlett of the Tampa Bay, no, not the Devil Rays anymore, the Tampa Bay Rays, had a chance for the cycle in the 8th inning, and he needed a single. He had a double, triple, and a homer. But he struck out in the 8th. Not many days in baseball history where more than one cycle was achieved. And apparently there will not be one achieved other than Tulowitzki's here tonight. Tulowitzki in Denver with the cycle, and Bartlett almost. Although that game could go extra innings, he might get it yet.
How many RBIs did Tulowitzki wind up with?
7.
It's a pretty good day in the big leagues. Giants will defend against the bunt. They got good speed at all bases.
And Martin gave away the bunt.
And that was the whole idea about turning around and show second. Maybe a guy in the batter's box will tip his hand. But you know what? Hitters could beat you in that situation as well. So you can't trust it 100%. Normally the speed of the runners will tell you which base to go for. But with the Dodgers right now, they got good speed everywhere. Pierre, Furcal, and in the batter's box with Martin.
Ball 1. When you have speed like these guys, and you've got a guy who handles the bat pretty well at the plate, they might bunt, but they might start the runners, try a little hit and run action. A lot of options when you have 2 base stealers out there like Pierre and Furcal. He's showing bunt, and that's a strike. Joaquin Valdez giving up singles to Pierre and Furcal. Pierre was the pinch hitter for the pitcher. And Joe Torre had the lineup many times after the suspension of Manny Ramirez, where Pierre would hit 9th and Furcal would hit 1st with Hudson 2nd. For that reason, because Furcal and Hudson were doing great things at that time at the top of the order, and yet there was Pierre, who was really a leadoff man. He didn't want him hitting 6th or 7th. So he put him up 9th and put the pitcher up 8th. And it worked out beautifully for a good long while. Showing bunt. And he fouls it into the batter's box area. Strike 2.
Boy, Ryan Garko really crashing hard. Got very deep towards home plate, running down the first base line. And with a guy like Russell Martin, I mean, that's a bit of a gamble because of how well he handles the bat. You have to believe that he's got the ability to butcher. You can see how Garko's getting deep. Comes a point in time, if you're the hitter on the plate, you see that corner infielder's getting that deep, you have a chance to slap a ball by him. you do so.
1-2. And he hung that breaking ball, lofted high and foul and out of play. Garco chasing down the line after it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Garco will go back to first. Giants are trailing 4-1 here in the 9th inning. And the Dodgers are threatening to lengthen that lead. 40,522, the paid crowd here in San Francisco tonight. Game 1 of this series. Tickets available for tomorrow's ball game at sfgiants.com right now. And that's bounce foul. He's not getting that ball down where he wants it with 2 strikes. Martin has 1 hit tonight in 4 at-bats. Lots of speed on the base paths. Pierre at second, Furcal at first, nobody out. There they go. Benji throws to second, and he got him. Sanchez played the hop and made the tag.
What a nice play from Sanchez. I mean, all he has to do is catch the ball as it comes up, and Furcal runs right into him. But that is not an easy short hop to kind of wrestle down. So the Giants catch a big out right here, and that changes everything. No slide from Furcal. You really have to wonder what was going on in his mind. But the mistake the Giants will take, now it becomes a pure strikeout situation with runner at third, less than 2 outs.
Plus he had no jump whatsoever.
And that's rare for a runner at first and second. That runner at first should get a big lead, should get a good jump. There's nobody holding him on. That looks strange.
Giants bring the infield in now with Pierre at third. No steal for Pierre since the trailing runner was thrown out. 3-2 the count. Off the hands right to Renteria, who is drawn in. Out number 2. Now, a lot of managers will not, as a matter of principle, run those 2 runners with nobody out, because you've got a nice inning set up, and what if you run the 2 runners and then a guy hits a line drive right at somebody? It's an inning-ending triple play.
Yeah, good play too from Benji Molina to take on the back runner. I mean, that's the runner you would think would have the easiest attempt at stealing a base because of the fact that he wasn't being held on. He could get a big lead, and with Furcal's speed, not many guys would attempt that throw.
Here's Andre Ethier, and you wonder if that also might have been something that appeared in the scouting report, because for some reason Furcal almost never steals any longer, and the few times he has stolen, he does not have a good record of it. 6 steals and caught 5 times now. Pierre at third. Ethier is the Dodgers' leading RBI man and home run hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to him. But in fact, I saw Torrey several years back when he was managing the Yankees on a game on Memorial Day at Yankee Stadium do that very same thing with nobody out. He ran the 2 runners. Guy hit a line drive right to Randy Velarde, who had gone over to cover at second base. Unassisted triple play to end the inning. And Valdez, a little bit high at 98 on our gun, 97 on the in-park radar gun.
The first time you'd seen an unassisted triple play?
I had also seen one turned by Furcal when he was with Atlanta in St. Louis at the old Busch Stadium. Same play, 2 runners on, they took off. Velez has plenty of room, and the inning is over. So the Dodgers had a great beginning, and they came up empty against Valdez. Last chance for the Giants. Sandoval, Molina, and Wynn. 4-1, last of the ninth. And Jonathan Broxton, the Dodgers' big and very impressive closer, is in to pitch. They try and wrap this one up for LA, but as he started warming up, there was something not quite right about the mound, so a couple of members of the Giants grounds crew come out to do a little bit of landscape work out there.
Well, that's a mound that's 100% clay, and they've had some problems getting it settled in. It's a new mound because of the last time the Giants went on the road trip, they broke this mound down to prepare the field for a concert, and then they've rebuilt it. They've had some problems getting it settled in, and it has at times had to have been repaired during the course of the ball game because the hole around the rubber, or a hole out there where the plant steps, where guys step and stride on their plant steps, they'll dig a hole out, and when that breaks down, guys will just have to call timeout and have the grounds crew come out and put a quick fix on. But they don't have these things are all 100% clay now. These mounds aren't a composite anymore. Giants head groundskeeper Greg Elliott said right now the side mounds are a little harder, a little more firm than the mound, the main diamond, simply because they haven't had to been rebuilt because of the concerts. They leave those mounds up, but the main diamond mound, that gets taken down.
So Broxton is in, and Broxton 50 and 2/3 innings, 26 hits allowed, 76 strikeouts in 50 and 2/3 innings. He's had a problem with the big toe on his right foot that has caused him to shut it down for brief periods. But Broxton, for the most part, has just been overpowering over and over again.
Well, 26 hits allowed, 50 and 2/3 innings. That's ridiculous. I mean, 48 base runners combined with the walks and hits gives you an idea of how dominant he's been. When your total of walks and hits combined are less than your innings pitched, you're having a tremendous year, and he's doing that very thing. And how he gets it done is with a high-octane fastball that goes high 90s and a good hard slider and a changeup. But you don't see many of the slider changeup combinations. But for the most part, he's going to come at you with country hard balls.
Sandoval leads off against him. Fastball to strike. Sandoval has had a single, flied out to left, and grounded out to second. Molina on deck. Randy Wynn due up third. Broken back for Carl. Well, the Giants' offense has just been manhandled by Dodger pitching tonight. Giants had 4 hits in the first 2 innings, but the first 2 came with 2 down in the first. Lewis led off the second with a single and ended up on a ball in the dirt trying for second base, and Russell Martin, and I think you have to give Martin credit. It was a pretty good gamble by Lewis, but Martin made a fabulous recovery and nailed him at second just before Ishikawa hit a home run.
I think that was the defensive play of the game, because Fred Lewis had great instinct on the play. He had a nice secondary lead. He had no hesitation in his jump to second, and everything had to be perfect from Martin's perspective, and boy, was it ever.
The Giants have not been able to put anything together really the rest of the night. Kuroda settled in nicely from there. He went 6 1/3, allowed 1 run, 6 hits. Quo and Belisario got the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. Sherrill. There's that play you're talking about, Mike.
Boy, and everything had to be absolutely perfect, and it was.
That ball is hit deep. That ball is way, way back there. Home run. And it's 4-2. Only the second home run allowed by Broxton this year in 51 innings.
Well, the alarm clock just went off in the Giants dugout. A rare mistake to location from Broxton. They set up on the outside corner to knees. This thing goes right up above the hands, middle in. And Benjamin Molina, who's been swinging it well, puts a charge into this thing. And for Molina, home run number 14.
Now Randy Wynn, who is 1 for 3. Giants need base runners. Up the middle. Base hit. Wynn's second consecutive hit. And now Fred Lewis will come up as the possible tying run.
Well, the Giants crowd have been patient. They've been waiting to get into this game, and it's happening here with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. Benjamin Molina got everybody out of their seats. And for the first time tonight, the Giants get the lead on, or the tying run in the batter's box.
Broxton is in his first game since Saturday. It's his first save opportunity since Thursday. He has had 4 blown saves this year, 24 saves, 4 blown. Fred Lewis 1 for 3. One ball and no strikes. Had movement on that one. Our gun had it at 99. The stadium gun at 98.
You wouldn't think a guy with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball would be nibbling.
Blake, they get one, and safe at first is Fred Lewis, who runs well. And Blake did not hurry anything. He made sure that he got at least the one.
Well, they know it's unlikely you're going to back in and double up Fred Lewis because he runs very well. So you got to make sure you get the one.
So now Ryan Garco with 2 down in the 9th. The Giants are trailing 4-2. Lewis is the runner at first. Garco has seen Broxton before in an interleague game, and it must have been last year. And Broxton struck him out the only time he's faced him. Lewis runs, they weren't holding him, and he takes second base as Garco takes ball 1.
Ryan Garco is still looking for his first National League home run. I'm thinking this is a pretty good time right here, partner.
It'd be a nice way to break into his first Giants-Dodger game. Former Stanford star. Just a little bit low, and Martin turned and said something to Todd Titchener about that call. 2 balls, no strikes. Edgar Renteria on deck. 4-2 Dodgers. Molina with a home run in the inning.
Right now, Garco in the driver's seat. Good count leverage.
Castro, nice play, and the ball game is over. He robbed of a hit with a diving grab, and the Dodgers, whose defense has been about as good as there's been in the National League this year, with another outstanding play